Some people might say, you know what, just leave me alone. But then when you leave them alone, they have an attitude, right? Why is it that they caught the attitude? Because what they said and what they meant were not the same thing. Hey, what's up? It's your girl, Maggie Mejia. I am a wife, a mom of three, your sister in Christ, and host of this podcast. Here is where you're going to get short episodes of advice and coaching around everything concerning life, purpose, money, health. Listen, you name it, we talk about it. So it's a small fist bump from me to you of what I get out of the scriptures. Let's get into it. Hey, what's up, everybody? I hope you got a nice cup of coffee. If you're driving, I hope it's sunny outside for you. Girl, if you got me in the kitchen, I hope you're cooking something good. We are getting into Matthew 5, verses 33 through 37. This is when Jesus was talking about the importance of truthfulness and promise keeping in general. He just went over the Beatitudes, and now he goes into a little bit about what it means to make a vow or keep the truth. Okay, so Matthew 5, 33 through 37. And I'm going to read it from the Amplified Version. Again, you have heard that it was said to the men of old, you shall not make false vows, but you shall fulfill your vows to the Lord as a religious duty. But I say to you, do not make an oath at all, either by heaven, for it is the throne of God, or by earth, for it is the footstool of his feet, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. Nor shall you make an oath by your head, for you are not able to make a single hair white or black. And here's our key verse today. But let your statement be yes, yes, or no, no, meaning a firm yes or a firm no. Anything more than that comes from the evil one. So I have a small little excerpt here from Tim Keller, and he preached on this in a series that he named Hard Sayings of Jesus in 1993. Look what he said about this specific verse. He said, the whole Bible is built on covenants, public promises, observed words, and accountability. So what does Jesus teach us specifically in Matthew 5? He's saying if you think you can create levels of truthfulness, then you're wrong. He's saying that every yes and every no must be as truthful as if you swore it on a stack of Bibles on network television. Every yes and every no is observed because God is the creator and is present with us. This is a radical principle of truthfulness that Jesus was teaching us here. So I want to talk a little bit about communication today because I think communication can get so sticky. There's levels to communication, but yet what Jesus was saying, you cannot create a level to truthfulness. I think if we took this principle here about letting yes be yes, letting no be no, then our communication would be so much better. I want to talk a little bit about how we actually communicate as humans and why does the truth get so misunderstood within conversation. Okay, so truthfulness and clarity are going to be your best friends when it comes to communication. So there's 4 elements when it comes to communication. The first element of that equation is what you say. What you say is simply the words that you're using, the sentences that you're speaking. You, the speaker, the words that are coming out of your mouth, you're telling someone, hey, I'm running late. Can you pick the kids up from school, right? Just literally what you say, the facts that are actually coming out of your mouth. The second element is what you mean, right? How many times do we say something, but we mean something else? Let's say, something happened where tension is kind of in the conversation, or you feel like you're about to get triggered, or people are just arguing. Have you ever been arguing with a boyfriend or something like that? And the first thing women say is what? We go, leave me alone. Right? And so some women actually mean it, right? But some people might say, you know what? Just leave me alone. But then when you leave them alone, they have an attitude, right? Why is it that they caught the attitude? Because what they said and what they meant were not the same thing. Okay. And so communication can get really sticky. It's important for us to say what we mean and mean what we say. But how many of us actually do that? We may even try to do that, but fail at that sometimes. These are the elements of clarifying communication. You're going to need it for yourself. You're going to need it for the relationships in your life, the coworkers you have, your boss, your business, your clients. What they say and what they mean are two different things sometimes, right? So clarifying questions is actually going to help you out. If a person is stating something and you're not sure, or you make an assumption in your head that they really mean something else, the best way to kind of like clear up the communication so that both of you are actually having a conversation and not triggering each other and doing all that is to ask clarifying questions, right? Simply say, what did you mean by that? I heard what you're saying, but can you do me a favor just so I can understand? What did you mean by that? What did you mean when you said blank, blank, blank? Right? So clear that up on the front end so that you're not sitting there life coaching the wrong problem. Right? You're not sitting there trying to figure something out for someone else. How many of us have either experienced it ourselves? Like we jump to conclusions, we jump to assumptions, or you have like either thought or told another person like, yo, I'm not a mind reader. I don't even know why you're mad at me. You never even communicated that to me. But now all of a sudden there's like tension, like what's happening? But it was because that person had a story playing in their head, and what they were saying and what it was meaning was two different things. So say what you mean what you say. Okay. And if you ever don't understand someone else, clarify. Let's say you're in a conversation with someone and you say something and you notice something about their body language, or maybe they made an expression with their face, right? I'm somebody, I can't hide my faces. So it's like maybe they made something. I would even ask right then and there, hey, I noticed that, you crossed your arms, or I noticed that your eyebrow went up. I noticed that something. Did you understand what I was trying to say when I said that? Because if not, I would love to clarify that for you. Right. And so it's getting those two elements out of the way. Now, these are things that you're responsible for. When I say that we take full responsibility for our emotional state, then you have to understand that what you say and what you make that mean, you're responsible for. We cannot control other people's behaviors, but we can control our own thoughts. We can control our own mind. We can control our own words, and we can explain. Right? I have no problem clarifying for anyone else. Some people don't like to clarify. Some people say, well, I don't feel like I have to explain myself. Well, that's coming from a story in your head. Anyone who feels like they don't have to explain themselves to clear up some communication between you and another person, that is all, you're being triggered. And that's coming from a story in your head. If you want to grow up, right? If you want to get spiritually mature, if you want to draw from God in strength and character, then you need to understand that your emotions are your responsibility. Your words are your responsibility, and the meaning that you are making out of them are your responsibility. Okay. So the third element of communication is what they hear. So, for example, let's say that you said, hey, I'm running late, and you meant, hey, I'm running late. But what that person heard was, you're not important enough for me to be on time for. Your schedule goes according to my clock. So if I say I'm late, there shouldn't be a problem with I'm late. They can be having an entirely different story playing in the background of their mind, right? Because depending on what you say, and depending on what you really mean, and depending on what that person really hears, and then the fourth element is what they think I mean, right? Is all encompassing this one word called communication. Okay. And so this gets mixed up every single day. Why? Because people have their own experiences, their own distortions, their own background, their own beliefs, their own values. Like they have all their stuff, and then you have all your stuff. So it's like you have two people coming in with all of these things, and then something as small as, hey, I'm running late, can either buy you time or get you into an argument, right? Can either forgive it or forget it, meaning I ain't never waiting for this chick again. You don't know if time for that person and being on time for that person is a value of theirs. They see it as more than running 5 minutes late. They see it as more than just, I fell behind on some stuff. What they see is disrespect. They feel unimportant. And they just feel like, you know what? You're very inconsiderate of my time because that person made sure that they got their time management together so that they could be on time for you. But then you're telling them that you're running late. So what you say and what you mean and what they hear and then what they think you mean are all elements of communication. I know communication can seem very simple. It's like, yo, I say something, you heard what I said, and that's it. As long as I'm clear, we're good. But it's not that simple. It's not just what I say, because you could say it, you could mean it, like you're not making it mean anything else outside of what you're saying for you. But this is when you don't have responsibility for what they hear and what they make that mean. That is not your responsibility. See, what they hear when you say what you say, the moment you make that your responsibility, you've entered into a codependent conversation. So, what do codependent conversations look like? It's me, the speaker, going beyond an explanation, going beyond an apology, going beyond like a normal conversation so that I can help you regulate your own thoughts, your own emotions, your own nervous system, your own reactions. Like, I'm the cause for your anger, so now I have to be the solution for your peace. Or I, the hearer, feel as if the person speaking, the person saying what they said is responsible for how I feel. Someone else is responsible for making me feel better. Someone else is responsible for the way I'm reacting to a situation. That is not healthy communication. That is not letting your yes be yes and your no be no. That is manipulation. When someone else tries to control a situation, a conversation using reactions like silent treatment, bursting out in anger, bursting out in tears. There are different ways to control other people. That's why I love this scripture of letting your yes be yes, letting your no be no, that there are no levels to truthfulness, and anything outside of that comes from the evil one, because all of those reactions that I just explained are a form of manipulation when it is being used to control the situation, to control the other person, so that you just want control of the situation again. And you may not even know that this is a form of manipulation. This might be what you've always done. This might be how you've always reacted. But you have to ask yourself two questions. Number one, how's this working for me? Like, how is it working for you, sis? Reacting to life in this way. How has it been working for you? And number two, do I want to continue to respond to life like this? Because sometimes the only reason we keep reacting to life the way we've always reacted to it is because we don't think that we have the permission to choose different thoughts, different actions, different behaviors with who we choose to be today, according to your identity in Christ. We just don't give ourselves that permission. We give ourselves permission to burst out in anger. We give ourselves permission to cry. We give ourselves permission to give people the silent treatment, but we don't give ourselves permission to sit with what is uncomfortable for the sake of growth, to sit with what is unfamiliar for the sake of growth. If you see this happening in your life with different people and just different everyday situations and conversations, then you have to look in the mirror, swallow the hard pill of truth, and say, what is the common denominator in all of these things? Because it's you. And we can only be responsible for us. People are not responsible for how we think, how we feel, or how we are experiencing a situation. We are the only ones responsible for our own experience. What is the hearer's responsibility when it comes to communication? It is that person's responsibility to speak up and say, what did you mean by that? The proper way for you and I to take care of someone else's emotions, to consider someone else's emotions, are clarifying questions. If you say what you mean and you mean what you say, how the person interprets even a clarifying question is not your responsibility. I'm considering you in the fact that I'm clarifying the communication between us so that there's not a fight. But what if the person on the other end of this conversation doesn't like questions and they make questions mean something? They make questions mean, what do you think? I'm a liar? Why do you keep asking me questions? I feel like I'm being probed, investigated over some garbage. But it's because they're making the questions mean something for us. The way I care for you and the way you care for me is through clarifying questions. I'm showing you that I care enough about you to clear up the topic, to clear up the conversation, so that both of us can communicate for the purpose of clarity, of growth, of intimacy, of whatever that goal is for you with that conversation, right? So whether it's a life coaching conversation and there's clarity there, or whether it's a friendship that you're having and you just want to clarify some things, whether it's a spouse and you want to have clear communication because the end goal is to be closer to one another, then you start to realize that questions are not a bad thing. It's just what you're making questions mean to you. Okay? So those are the 4 elements of communication. I would love to hear your thoughts and some insights that you've learned. If you like today's show, then you have to come check us out at She Matters University. It's my coaching program for Christian women leaders and entrepreneurs who are ready to pursue their purpose online. She Matters is a digital company that helps you heal, learn, and grow so that you're not only living in freedom and a more fruitful, productive, and emotionally healthy life, but you are finding your voice in the kingdom and getting clear on your message for the people God has called you to. We accomplish this through e-courses, coaching, encouragement, prayer. You have one-on-one coaching with me and 90 minutes a week of group coaching. There's so much going on in and through the university, and I'd love for you to be a part of it. I want to help you renew your mind, restore some old stories, equip you for who God has called you to be, and then send you out to the online world so that you can minister to other women through your gospel message. So if you're ready to have a purposeful life and a profitable business, girl, visit me at MaggieMejia.com. That's Maggie Mejia, MEJIA.com, and I can't wait to coach you over there.